Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cinematic Schematic, the official podcast of thecinematropolis.com. I'm your host, Caleb Masters, and today we'll be kicking off our special deadCenter coverage. That's right, it is that time of year again, and I am very thrilled to kick off our special deadCenter coverage with returning interviewer, Mickey Reece. That's right, Mickey Reece is back once again to talk about his new film, along with Alex Sanchez. They're going to be talking about Arrows of Outrageous Fortune, and one of the big headliners at deadCenter this year.
This isn't working for me.
How would you like this to be different?
You know, maybe we are working towards getting married. Is that your phone?
Yeah.
Did you plan that?
No, I don't even know how to set an alarm. Hello? Okay. My dad's dying. People die all the time, especially dads, and mine's not even there yet, so if we could hold off on the pity...
Here's your bereavement form. I'll fill that.
My dad's not dead, he's just in the hospital.
I just think you should focus on what's important.
Him being about to die does not make him a better dad. If anything, it makes him a worse dad, because he's weaker.
He's reached out to you multiple times, and you blow him off.
I bet this is all a plot to get me to tell him I forgive him. Hi, I'm Henry.
Oh, fuck me.
Mistake was pretending that you and your mother never happened.
Yeah, I gotta agree.
To my estranged son, Henry, I leave my home at 1414 Silkwood Drive.
What?
Yeah, what?
Dear Henry, I know such a gift cannot make up for the years I spent not knowing you, but perhaps it will make your life a little easier.
This fucking place, Bonanza, huh? Kind of happened to be, like, in your life all of a sudden.
I know George kind of had a son.
I didn't come around much.
Firstly, I would like to apologize for my behavior at the lawyer's office. I have been in an emotional state.
Somebody order a pizza with anchovies?
These people just sort of barged in here.
It's a goddamn free-for-all, isn't it?
Arrows of Outrageous Fortune is a story about a man named George Arrow who bequeaths his only son, Henry, a mansion filled with insane women. Arrows of Outrageous Fortune follows Mickey Reece's critical hits, Mickey Reece's Alien, and Strike Dear Mistress and Cure His Heart, and the film reunites Reece with recurring cast members Alex Sanchez, Mary Buss, Kate Jones, Michaeline Stevenson, and Jacob Snovel, among many others. Alex, welcome to the Cinematic Schematic. First time?
Yes. Hello, thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure talking to you, man.
You too.
I feel like I'm glad to actually have you on a podcast. I mean, I know you do your podcast.
Yes.
And we've been like
orbiting
each other for quite some time. So it's good to actually sit down and talk.
Yeah, this will be, for the record, our first real conversation.
You know, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, this is the longest we've ever had a real conversation.
This right now is, so imagine how it'll be in an hour.
We're going to know each other.
Yeah.
Intrinsically.
We'll be brothers.
Yeah, brothers. So, of course, Alex Sanchez is the star of Arrows of Outrageous Fortune, starring as Henry. But we're also joined, of course, by the writer-director, Mickey Reece. Welcome back, Mickey.
Good to be here. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. I look forward to this interview every year. I mean, I feel like about once a year I've had you on now, and every year it gets better.
Yeah.
I shortened so many words. I can't believe I've never done pledge.
Pledge, that's a good one.
That's such a good one. I say sketch a lot.
Sketch.
Check my sketch. Yeah.
I do sketch a lot as well. So, gents, how's it? Okay, so I know there's been a lot of rumbling. You guys have been doing kind of your press tour so far. I know you've been doing a lot of interviews, but we're here recording about, what, a week? Yeah, a week out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a week out from the premiere day. So how you feeling today?
Fine.
I'm feeling very nervous.
Are you nervous?
You know, a bunch of people I know are seeing it for the first time.
That's
true. You know, it's sort of my...
I guess
it's a lot of people's first time ever seeing my head that big.
That's true. Your head is quite big because we've been doing a theater test at Harkins. I've seen it a few times up there, and it is very large. I even said something to the manager about shrinking it. He said there's nothing he can do about it. So
no, you got to do that. We've got a week. You could probably go in and shrink my head.
I'm like editing another movie, man. I don't have time.
Come on,
I don't have time to mess with this one.
You quit being so prolific.
You know how there's like the big head mode in the first person shooter games?
I was just thinking about that.
What if there's a VFX that's the small head mode?
Small head mode, like in Jack and Daxter.
Jack and Daxter. I forgot about that. Wow.
Yeah.
Good throwback. Well, the nice thing about you, Mickey, is there's always good variety, such variety I get from you. Every time I'm seeing a movie that, two things, it feels distinctly like you made it. Like I would never mistake any of the movies I've interviewed you for or any of your movies I've seen for someone else. One. Two, they're all really different though. I think it's so maybe you could tell our listeners a little bit about the movie. This is it feels to me a little more like slice of life.
So, okay, I guess it should be said that this is not a follow-up to Strike Your Mistress. The follow-up to Strike Your Mistress is a movie called Climate of the Hunter that I'm currently editing right now. This is the follow-up to a movie called Broadcast, and then a movie before that called like Suedehead. This was like kind of this like mumblecore style. It's like a follow-up to those movies that no one has seen. So
I've seen Broadcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go.
I got one. You got one.
I've also seen Broadcast.
So it's more of like the next movie in that installment. You know what I mean?
Kind of following that same line of thought, where you have again kind of more conversational. I don't know, slice of life. Is that a good way to put it? Slice of life. Like you're looking at this very.
And they're set in reality,
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So whereas the other ones like Mickey Reese's Alien, Strike Your Mistress, and Climate of the Hunter are not.
No. They're set in the, I believe, Chronicles of Narnia universe.
Chronicles of Narnia universe, yeah. I knew that there was an eighth one coming somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe just to get us started here, coming off of Strike Your Mistress, Heirs of Outrageous Fortune is a change of pace. Was there anything in particular? So you've mentioned a couple of your previous movies. This feels like a spiritual successor.
Right. Well, I mean, really, it was a matter of when we finished Strike Your Mistress, we had a long wait to premiere it, and we were just bored. And so it was like, we could wait until that movie premieres and then get funding for another movie, and then I guess maybe that's why people don't make movies all the time. But I was like, but why would we do that? We don't have to do that. No one's saying that we can't make a movie. Let's just go make a movie. Like, we don't have any money, but it's never stopped us before because it's fun. We have fun. We have fun, and we create scenarios that are fun, so it's not like grueling to shoot. So it was actually us just having fun, and I don't even remember that we filmed a movie. I don't even know where the camera was. We were just like hanging out,
just a bunch of friends.
Yeah,
like Caddyshack.
Exactly, and we didn't. We shot it Dogma 95 style.
Mm-hmm.
We shot it that way. The movie is obviously clearly not, because we have music and sound, and I mean, as far as like sound that doesn't belong in there. I mean,
right.
Which is like, but we did it. But we shot it that way.
A lot of Hanna-Barbera sound effects.
There you
just
go. Exactly.
On it.
Or we shot it like, with no lights or no props, no costumes, no makeup, just a camera and people talking. And we kind of wrote it as we went along too.
Yeah,
to
more
a degree.
or less.
The last scene was that was written on the morning of.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
okay. Now, last scene. Are you talking last scene specifically, or last act?
Last act.
Okay.
Last act. Yes.
Okay. We're gonna get to that as much as we can without spoiling it. So, Alex,
yes.
you've collaborated with Mickey. This is what, your third collaboration?
Yes.
And so, what was your reaction? How did this process work? Did Mickey say, "Hey, I want to do a movie that you're starring in"? I know it sounds like you guys just kind of got together and messed around and like came up with a story. But at what point did you become the lead in the process?
I think, Mickey, you just wanted to make a movie where I was in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was just like, let's do an Alex movie.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was. Let's make an Alex movie.
Yeah. And then he wrote it, and then we all made it.
Excellent.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it worked.
Mickey, this is how all of your movies work.
Yeah. To a degree. I don't know. It's getting a little different now. We're getting some more, more hands on deck now. And they're not as, like, Climate of the Hunter was not as, it was a script, and we all went by the script.
Right.
And, had a big crew and stuff, and a lot of stuff goes with that where you have to be more organized. And This movie was no organization.
No, very seat of pants.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. So you guys got together. You say, "Hey, we're going to make a movie." I feel like, Alex, given your background, like with comedian, my initial thought was, okay, this was like they improv'd everything.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the process you guys had collaborating together. Like, how did the script come about? Like, how much of this was improv and how much of this was scripted?
It's not improv.
It's not improv. I would say that Mickey wrote the whole thing, and then I punched up on set.
Yeah, and everybody did.
Right. That's what everybody, that was the deal.
Yeah, there wasn't a, there wasn't, I wasn't like going like, no, the line is.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah, exactly. But it wouldn't be improv because we rehearsed the scenes.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know how you would even do it. I don't even know how you would like film improv and like keep it organized because, I wouldn't say the movie's like shot like complicated or anything. It's most certainly not, but it's still the shots are organized. It cuts together. So yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how we would do that if it was just straight improv. I mean, we just rehearse everything beforehand.
Right.
Even if we make something up there on the spot, it's still rehearsed a million times, and then that's not improv anymore.
Right.
That's just us like retro scripting.
Right.
We wrote in rehearsal.
Oh, you wrote in rehearsal? I mean, that's kind of, I mean, yeah. So you had the script to work off of, and it sounds like that made up like 95%, and then you kind of, like you said, you punched it up, but then you would go back and re-rehearse it. Okay. All right. Very cool. So
we would sort of say the gist of what was in the script and then take whatever felt natural out of that and use it for the next rehearsal and sort of
So what was it like to kind of step into that starring role? Was there any like extra was there any extra pressure? Did you feel like it was kind of the same shtick?
This was, I would say, easier than doing Mickey Reese's Alien because I didn't have to do a voice. And I could just sort of react to things. I didn't really... My character is less of a protagonist and just sort of a guy that stuff happens to. And that's how I feel in my own life. So it was sort of pretty easy to portray that.
I mean, you can, like... I don't know. I mean... I think his performance is super consistent throughout the entire movie, but working on it behind the scenes, like, he became an actor. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like towards the end of it when we were, essentially the stuff in the house and like kind of the stuff in the beginning, they were like scenes that were, but the other stuff like stuff that was like separate locations, like the lawyer's office and then his work and stuff like that. Those were like pickup days. Like, we'll meet here this morning and shoot this thing for 3 or 4 hours. But like Alex was like carrying actors. He was like, commanding the scene, and he would give me something like new and fresh like every time, or keep it the same, just like kind of whatever worked. You know what I mean? He just like really became like an amazing actor in that.
Nice.
No, you feel in the scene too, because I mean, I feel like the passing the father at the beginning of the film. I think that's a relatively heavy scene. I thought you nailed it, like it was a home run.
Wow. Thank you.
And then of course, I think again, without getting too spoilerish, I thought the ending. I mean, like I feel like I was watching you because I know you somewhat, but then I could tell, like to a certain degree, like I could see the shades of your performance coming through to kind of distinguish you from the character as well.
Nice.
So it didn't feel like, you had just written Alex specifically. Like there was some nuance there. And again, terrific job.
Thank you.
I think performance leading the film. But were you ever like worried whenever you were like asked to lead, or was this just kind of like a fun thing, see how it turns out?
Oh, I was of course a wreck about it. I was like, I'm not an actor really, but then of course I wanted to do it because I like that sort of thing. But I was very neurotic in the beginning of it, I think. Wouldn't you say?
It didn't show.
Yeah,
I don't think. No.
Okay.
It might have been, rougher the first day we shot compared to like that day in the office.
Yeah.
Where you were just like Marlon Brando. But, but it wasn't like, I mean, you've always had it. You're just natural and you're just super likable. And a lot of actors, they can train forever, but if they're not like likable, like affable to the audience, then they lose, and that's where you win. It's just being like really like cool and likable and natural,
Nice. Thanks, guys.
I'm being really sweet.
Yeah, you guys are being real nice to me.
Well, but I mean, like it really does show on the screen though.
He's a star. Yeah. I mean, he's a star.
So, but I do want to talk about, you had to kind of lift a little more emotionally in the passing of the scene. Maybe could you talk a little bit about like what it was like filming that particular scene or going into work that day? Was there anything you were concerned about, or anywhere you were like channeling your inner actor?
Well, sure. I've watched a couple people die in my time. It happens to everybody. My mom died in a hospital from cancer, so I sort of knew what that was like. and I was just coming off a fresh one as well. But the passing of Ogletree after he got his soul power bombed out of his body.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. So that was sort of easy place to access. After he died, I didn't like weep or whatever, but I also didn't like flip him off. I just sort of went dead because that's what happens when that happens.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think again, it definitely shows through with the performance that you brought to the role. But also, like, you play comedically, right? You're a likable, affable guy, and I think this movie is really funny too. Because I don't want to make it sound like it's a super dramatic film, because I feel like it's a dramatic opening, but really after this is just kind of like following you around, doing your thing. You get this inheritance you don't know what to do with, and then all these people start showing up. So, Mickey, I want to bring it back to kind of the story piece, though. Was there anywhere in particular you got the idea, like, hey, what if this guy just inherited this fortune? Like, was it? Man,
I don't know about that. First of all, I want to talk about that since we're on the subject of that specific scene. That was like really interesting for me because I had Ben Hall, who's a super experienced like theater actor, and then we got Alex. You know what I mean? So like trying to work with those two together, it was like I was like, I wonder how this is going to go. What is this going to be like? And they were just both like super professionals on it. You know what I mean? Like the work was done like already. It was like, I don't know. It's a really impressive scene, like to watch two different schools, two different styles of acting like happening there.
Was that like and it wasn't really challenging in any way? Or was there any like different approaches you took there? Did you feel like it was pretty easy?
No, just rehearse and then shoot. That was the quickest scene that we did.
It
we
was
just
pretty easy.
Yeah, got in and got out quick.
I don't know, guys. Acting seems pretty easy.
Yeah. Exactly. So as far as the story goes, well, let's see. I had the actors already because they're just my friends that are like around that want to be in a movie. And then, Alex is the lead, like, here are the rules. It's all set up and then we're shooting with no lighting, and this is our crew, and then these are our locations that we have. So it's kind of like, it's essentially the way you like go approach like a 48-hour film. You know what I mean? They give you all of these rules and all of these line and the prop and all that stuff, and then you just have to make something out of that. That's exactly how this worked. You know what I mean? Like, here's your money, none. Here's a house, here's some actors, here's a camera, here's sound. Like, why can't you? I mean, that's all you need. So we just went right into like that. So it's like, well, we got to get him into the house. How do we get him into the house? Well, the dad leaves the house to him. You know what I mean? Gotcha. So it just like kind of the script writes itself because it's not even, and that's also why it's kind of a hangout movie and like a it's aimless, you know what I mean? Because we're just watching characters,
right?
Which I like anyway. That's what cinema is to me. You know what I mean? Because if you
characters sitting in a room talking,
exactly, and then because like you put a plot in there, and then it becomes TV.
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay, yeah. No, I think that's really fascinating. So you kind of reverse engineer it. You start saying, I know I'm going to have these characters in this house. You kind of identify what types of characters you want in there. You come up with a scenario, and then you kind of reverse engineer the rest of the script from that.
Exactly.
Okay, very cool. Very cool.
I guess that's interesting because, like, you need a plot because you're watching TV on a smaller screen, so you need something to keep your attention. But if you're watching good acting on a big screen, you're just looking at a face, and that's all you need.
Yeah.
And it's big enough for you to take in everything they're doing. Which leads me to my thesis for this podcast. I've decided just now there's only two kinds of movies that should be made. There's only two movies, My Dinner with Andre and Godzilla.
Wait. Which Godzilla? There are several.
The one that's about to come out.
Godzilla, King of Monsters?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I mean, it could have been Matthew Broderick's Godzilla for all I know. So
what's the Godzilla movie where it's just like a bunch of Japanese men in a like a conference room, like arguing?
There's Shin Godzilla, the most recent one from like 2016.
Yeah.
That one's pretty money, actually.
Yeah.
It gets like really political. It's like half of it's just dudes sitting in a conference room arguing about Godzilla.
It's the two things you need a giant screen for.
Yeah.
Conveying emotion and making sure that a monster looks big enough.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. That's fair enough. So you're saying, but no other. Those are the only 2 movies.
That's it. Everything else is TV.
No. There's lots of aimless movies that you have not seen.
I've seen so few good movies. No, that's true. I've seen like The Last Mimsy 4 times.
It was Mimsicle. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if there are no other takeaways, you just tell you're telling the listeners right now, you either see My Dinner with Andre or Godzilla. Okay.
Yeah, all movies fall under those 2 categories. Everything else is TV.
What about John Wick, though? I mean,
it's real good TV.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I can get behind that. I mean, really, with things like Game of Thrones, basically like Lord of the Rings right now, I mean, there's really no difference.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Long, plot-driven stuff.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. I want to bring it back here and talk a little bit about... I don't want to spoil it for people. Just know that this movie has a very Mickey Reece type of ending. And when I say that, I mean, I feel like your movies consistently throw me for a loop. Even stuff like Broadcast, like I feel like thrown for the loop, particularly like in your last act of your movies. And it's not like a M. Night Shyamalan thing or anything crazy like that, but I just feel
that would have been hilarious.
Oh my God. We should. Can we do a Shyamalan movie?
Yes.
So they're not like Shyamalan, but like I'm always like consistently caught off my guard, specifically because like style decisions or certain, I don't know, like almost genre bending decisions. You're like, well, you're watching this movie, but actually it's something different or it's something more in addition to. So I have to ask, what really attracts you to this kind of decision to maybe heighten the experience or throw kind of a curveball at the audience?
How lame would it have been if it would have just ended the way it was supposed to? You know what I mean? It would have just been a movie, like just a regular old, like, oh, we've seen this movie before, and now you haven't.
It's true. I haven't seen. This is the first time I had seen this movie.
But why would why would you even? I don't even understand like the point in actually going through all the effort to make a movie if you're not going to make something that no one has ever seen before.
Yeah. Alex, what do you? Okay, so you guys made the comment earlier that this development for the last act of the movie kind of came. I mean, I know we did improv, but it kind of came towards the end of production, right?
Yeah.
So did you guys film this without knowing how it was going to end, largely?
I don't remember.
Oh, God, yeah.
We certainly didn't have it written.
Right.
And that was the scene we used lights on.
I think
that makes sense. That actually, and that sticks out. It kind of ties into, well, again, I don't want to spoil it, but yes, I think that it's very fitting that it felt a little more, it felt different than the rest of the film. It felt different. It kind of dreamy in a certain way compared to the very real kind of realism we saw in the first 2/3 of the movie.
Yeah, for sure. That was the goal. Anyway, it was really bright that day, like outside, so it was hard to actually light it cinematically. But and plus we didn't have any money. We didn't have like a crew to do that or anything. But we did the best we could to set it apart from the rest of the movie.
Very cool. So throw you a curveball here. So I know you worked with Steve Mathis, right? He was one of the credited, he was the gaffer on this?
For that scene.
Specifically for that scene.
That's
okay.
It, yeah.
Well, he was named the Oklahoma Icon this year, one of the Oklahoma Icons this year, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes. I've heard nothing but wonderful things.
Great guy.
Have you worked together with him before?
Nope. We we just met and talked. Actually, we met at Goro. And
that's the beginning of all great meetings, right?
There.
Mm-hmm. Goro.
Yeah, exactly. We met at Goro and talked about it and said, "Hey, you want to come play with us?" Basically, he liked Mickey Reece's Alien a lot, so it was just like, "Hey, you're Steve Mathis. Do you want to come play with us for the day?" And he was like, "Sure." So that's how that worked.
Very cool.
I feel like the movie. Well, I mean, it does have some. I feel like the movie's just a straight comedy. Really. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what I told you.
Yeah.
Like if we're going to make, an Alex vehicle, it just needs to be a straight comedy.
Right.
And a straight comedy to me is like an Alexander Payne movie or something. But I mean, they are comedies. They're straight up comedies. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like it wouldn't be worth my time to do, Step Brothers with Alex Sanchez and Mason Giles. It just wouldn't. Why am I there for? You don't need a director for that. You need a traffic cop. But So it was like, we want to, but I want to capitalize on Alex's sensibilities, obviously, and like make something that works for him, but also isn't just, straight stupid. And we're just like,
Fucking around.
Yeah. Or just, something that still the audience is going to appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with this movie, I think everyone will, I think it's just like anything. I think there's going to be people that absolutely hate it and will walk out of there just like, what in the hell did we sit through that for?
I actually want to be a fly on the wall for that.
Yeah.
I just want to go stand in the theater. I mean, actually, no, I want to see it on the big screen, but I want to be there in that moment.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know what I mean?
Honestly, if you're listening to this and you go see the movie and that is your opinion, I would like to hear about it. Please send me a long email about it.
We should have a follow-up podcast with all the haters. Yeah.
Oh my God.
All the hate.
A hate mail segment. I would love that.
Well, actually, what? This brings up a great question too. I just want to throw it. You get this had its world premiere at the Chattanooga Film Festival.
Yeah, and that was great.
It was a lot of fun.
What was that experience like with the audience?
It was great, and they laughed like hysterically.
Yeah.
And no one.
It was very nice.
Yeah, no one got pissed off or anything.
No.
There's a few reviews from that festival on Letterboxd, and there's some good ones, and then there's some people that are just like, it was pretty decent. Like I think there's something like it's a pretty decent setup, but it devolved into all these weird stories, like these all like story arcs and stuff that I didn't care for. I think in like 2 stars or something like that. But then there are people that really liked it too, so it's just kind of divided. I don't think anyone's gonna walk out of there and be like, "It's okay."
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because they're gonna have
strong opinions.
It's something that you can have a strong opinion about. I feel like.
No, absolutely. And I think that's, in my mind, that's the film you remember, right? I think that goes back to what you're saying. So showing the audience is something they haven't ever seen before. Whether or not they liked it, that's up to them to decide. This one in particular, though, because it was, it felt more like a comedy, it kind of caught me a little more off guard. And you mentioned Alexander Payne before. Could you was there any other influences in particular, or any comedy directors that you like to draw from?
I mean, by default, it had to be kind of like a mumblecore movie.
Okay.
Because of obviously all of the mumblecore movement in general, and
maybe for our listeners who might not be as familiar, maybe elaborate on mumblecore.
The Duplass brothers, Alexander Ross Perry, but I'm not even that familiar with Alexander Ross Perry's work necessarily. But that's a lot of people have compared this to his stuff, but it's essentially just like Dogma 95, and those are kind of the rules to it. And mumblecore is basically the same way, but it's done that way because they don't have any money, and they end up creating more of a cinema verite aesthetic where the cameraman is present there too, to make it for realism and stuff. So so that's what this. That's how we approached this. And it was because this style was chosen because we didn't have any money to work with, but we still wanted to make a movie. So this is the best way to, for your production value to be forgiven. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, it kind of goes back to, maybe not mumblecore, but a lot of early films from well-known directors, Reservoir Dogs, for example, one location setup. I mean, this is definitely a much different movie than Reservoir Dogs.
Sure.
But the idea of hey,
basically
what do we...
the same.
This is our clever way of not having any money.
Yeah. But I mean, I think it works. And I think it allows you to tell stories that you wouldn't tell if you did have...
exactly. And with that being said, also, you don't have it's not like no one's around to tell us what we can and can't do for the movie because we're just doing it for fun. So why wouldn't we want to experiment with the film in general, by creating those weird segues that happen in the movie and and the ending and stuff, and to do something that no one's ever seen before, because otherwise we're just making a movie that everyone has seen before but done much better because they had more money and more time.
Right. So you're making you're telling the story you want to tell, not a cheap imitation of someone else's.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah. I that's very admirable. And I think it leads to more interesting stories. At least everything I've seen from you is always a lot of fun and keeps me on my toes. So, we're going to start to wind down the conversation here. But Alex, I gotta talk to you a little bit here. So, This is your third film. You're the star of this film. It sounds like you get a real. You had a real knack for it on the screen. It sounds like you're having a take into it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it a lot. So I like to do it.
What's next?
Nothing so far, but I'll keep my ear to the ground.
Hopefully, somebody will, somebody's making a movie around town or something will see this and be like, let's cast Alex, because I want to see that movie. I want to see a movie I have nothing to do with, where I just get to go like eat popcorn and watch Alex.
I'd watch that. Separate from the stand-up comedy, of course.
Sure. Yeah. Different.
So as we wind down, Mickey, you've already talked about your next film, and I know we're not going to talk about that too much today, but you've got other projects kind of in the fire, so to speak. Can you give us a status update on that?
I really want to. Well, I have a movie coming out probably later this year called Climate of the Hunter. I'm not sure if it's coming out later this year or early next year. It's kind of one of those same deals of us waiting around for a premiere date like Strike. And so maybe we'll make some other little Arrows of Outrageous Fortune follow-up while we're waiting for that movie to do its thing. But I really want to make a Tupac and Biggie movie.
All right. Listeners, contact us. Hit us up. I want to see that movie.
I do too, but I'm still developing it.
So is this going to be another kind of like low, kind of micro budget, non-budget film, or do you want to go all out with this one?
It'll probably be somewhere in between. We had a pretty good budget for Climate of the Hunter, so I feel like a follow up to that will be like a bigger budget movie, and I probably am not going to be able to talk people into funding a Tupac and Biggie movie. Maybe
Biggie movie would be fun though.
Well, I know it's true, but we'll see. But not the way I'm going to do it. It's not going to be fun.
All right.
I mean, it will be fun, but I mean, it's not going to be worth anybody's money or time.
Not in the marketable way that a lot of people might think.
Exactly.
All right. I dig that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's your pitch. Check it out. So, can you remind listeners here, maybe when can they, if they're going to be at deadCenter this weekend, when can they catch the movie?
So opening night Thursday at 5:30. We're the opening night film at Harkins, and then Saturday at 7:15 at Harkins as well.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, absolutely check out Arrows of Outrageous Fortune. It's a ton of fun. It's going to keep you on your toes. And trust me, Alex Sanchez in a starring role is a delight. You aren't going to want to miss it. Gentlemen, I know Alex especially, you guys are both pretty social. You're pretty active on social media. Where can people keep up with you online?
Follow me on Twitter at Sirius Sanchez. Follow me on Instagram if you'd like, but you're not going to get anything good over there.
No good content? Mickey, anywhere people can keep up with you?
I tend to gravitate more towards Instagram myself.
Makes sense.
Just straight Mickey Reece, just like one word. Ooh, wait, hold on, real quick. We might as well, since we're already recording this. I want to talk to you about a John Wayne Gacy movie.
Oh my god!
Okay,
right.
But John Wayne Gacy was a clown, of course, and then he had clown buddies, and they were called like the Jolly Jokers Club.
The Jolly Jokers Club.
All right, so the movie's called like Serious Business, and it's just about all these clowns like wandering, like working within the community, but they're all hanging out at John Wayne Gacy's house, like like we gotta like. What's on the agenda today? Like having these clown meetings.
So they're like vigilante, like Batman, but clowns.
Yeah. Well, no, because they like work within the community, just like, that was just a thing. Yeah. Like they're just children's entertainers, and there was like a group of them, the Jolly Jokers Club. And of course there'd be dead children underneath the house. So they're always just like, I'm tired of doing this meeting over here at your house, John. It always stinks. Well, I've called my landlord, but John Wayne Gacy had a wife too. It's like such a weird situation that could be turned into just a really funny comedy.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah, all right, let's do it.
You want to do it?
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, well, you played John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah, that makes... I kind of thought that's where this was going. I was like, a John Wayne Gacy movie? Hey, that guy's shaped like... Oh, no.
You played John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah.
And, you'd have to kill some kids, but I mean, other than that, it's...
I could do it.
Mostly it's just clowns talking in a room about clown shit.
Gentlemen, it's been a great time.
Yeah.
Listeners, please do find... Go check out those Instagram social media channels to find out if that did actually happen. Until next time, catch this movie Thursday night and Saturday night at deadCenter. We'll catch you next time.